Hi, Ray here, not that one. Well, I've got the canoe out after last weekend's trip, and just looking at the bottom of it, I mean there was already quite a lot of scratches on it, but I did increase these quite considerably. Gone down some of those shallows. They're mostly quite superficial, and they would, I think nearly all of them would rub out and cover with re-varnish, but there's a bit more going on than that. You can see there's a little bit of cracking just here, and on the stems, the varnishes, they're just chipped away, and we're now down to the bare wood, so that needs addressing. I'll turn it over in a minute, but there's a little crack here as well, just where the gunnels meet the stem. And there's a few on the side. Yeah, ever since I built the canoe, I have had a little bit of this milkiness on the one side in particular, and with hindsight that was due to the way I built it, because I was in a barn. It was sort of late February. It was pretty cold. It was almost certainly a bit damp as well, so I think we probably got a bit of moisture in the back of the fiberglass weave, and that's what's causing this staining. That's always been a bugbear ever since I built the canoe, really. But although to start with it was always very slight, but now it's a lot worse. So yeah, I'm gonna do something about that now. So the plan is I'm going to strip off all the epoxy and the matting, and then give it a rub down and re-epoxy and remat it. Now if the weather's warmer, that should make a much better job of it. So that's the plan. Yeah, and this end hasn't really fared any better, so you can see where the stem does take a lot of stick, really. You know, keep bumping into things, and it's always the first thing to hit on a submerged log and gravel. So yeah, I've just flipped the canoe over, and you can now see clearly that's started to crack down here, and it goes all the way down to about here, and it's just the start of one this side. Don't quite know what's caused that. The stem has split a little bit here as well, so possibly just when that's bumped into various things, it's now put a bit of strain on it. So yeah, so I need to address that as well. Okay, 4.5 hours later, we're all stripped off, and all left now is a big heap of fiberglass. And yeah, so now tomorrow it's going to be time to start sanding, so that's going to be fun. The sanding process has proven to be rather tedious, but I'm making some inroads. It was used to be really difficult at the bottom here. Down to the original wood as it was when I first built this. The first coat of epoxy I put on, as you can see here, I did tint it with some of the sawdust from the cedar. I don't think I'm going to do that again. I still think with hindsight that was possibly a mistake, but until I've done it clear, I won't really know. But we'll see. But you can see once you get that, the colour of the cedar comes through quite nicely. So that'll be slightly reddier and paler than browner. That was a bit dark before, but like I say, I won't really know until I've done it. So we'll have to keep our fingers crossed and hope that's the right decision, as of all these things. So I don't want you to think I am a canoe building expert. This is my personal canoe. I built this myself 11 years ago from a book, just using the tips I'd read about and my own knowledge of materials really. So I am in no way an expert, so don't copy what I'm doing thinking I am. So there's lots of other people who are far better qualified than I am to talk about these cedar strip canoes. So yeah, just thought I'd put that out there, but you know, we'll see what it turns out like. I feel I'm doing a decent job so far, but only time will tell. I've been there for quite a few hours this afternoon, and I have done about a quarter of the canoe. So this back section here is pretty much there. Got a Festool Rotax here, which is fantastic, and I've got another Makita orbital sanders, but I really want a flat one, so I'm going to get a third sheet flat sander just to do that lower section there. I've ordered one, that'll be here tomorrow. So yeah, to be honest, I have nearly had enough. It is quite a task, but you can see it's come down to the original wood quite nicely now, and I'm making sure that I'm keeping this fairing it so that it is really smooth. Well, it was anyway, but I suspect it possibly would be even better after this sand. So yeah, tough job, but that's as it is. I won't be looking for anything to do after work for the rest of this week, that's for sure. Be 2 or 3 hours every night, I think, and hopefully by the weekend we'll be somewhere ready for some epoxy. Fingers crossed. Hi, right here, not that one. Just a little update on how the canoe's getting on. You can see I've sanded the other side, is sanded the whole way down, and this side I'm down to almost halfway. I had a couple of evenings on it this week, and then we had a bit of wet weather last night, and I've also had to have a couple of evenings off to edit some YouTube videos. So but I didn't get it completely smooth and round when I built it, clearly, because I've had, in a few places, I've had a hell of a job to get those out. You can see the sort of thing you end up with where, you know, you can see that isn't quite the correct curve, so I'm sanding it back. So by the time I finished, it should be even better than it was before, which would be nice. So that's Friday the 6th. I'm now gonna get a couple of hours, just try and finish that middle bit, and then we've got the weekend. The weather tomorrow's sounding a bit dodgy, but Sunday should be pretty good, so hopefully I'll have this all sanded down. For the first stage I'm using 40 grit. Now on the other sander we'll drop down to 60 and then 120. Hello, today is Sunday the 8th of June and I'm back on the canoe. As you can now see, I have completely sanded the whole hull now, both sides, and yeah, the only thing I've got to do now is I haven't just completed the lower section, mainly because I've been in two minds as to whether to remove the outer gunnels or leave them in place, and I'm now depending. I think I'm going to leave them in place. I think the risk of removing them is greater than the risk of me not being able to finish the fiberglass neatly on the edge. I think if I'm careful, I should be able to get a nice finish there, and it will be tucked under that edge, so it won't be visible as such. So that's my plan. So it's had a pretty good sand down now, and as I think I said on the previous video, it's going to be probably a lot better than it was originally, because you can still see slightly darker patches here This is from where I originally did the first coat of epoxy last time when I built it 11 years ago. But that has given me a good guide, so you can see there's still the odd low spot. So clearly last time I did it, I probably rushed things a bit, and yeah, I didn't get it as smooth as it could have been. But you know, with hindsight, I never had anything to guide me last time, and you know, the danger is if you hit these too hard, especially on the curbs, you can end up sanding the whole way through, so that would be rather silly. So that's probably why I stopped where I did. So you can see there's still another little couple of bits here, but I'm just going to give this a little tiny tidy up on the edges here where the stems are, and then yeah, we're getting somewhere near it. Now interestingly, I've had a look on the bottom here. I don't know whether you're about to see this, but there's a crack running across here, and it comes all the way down to here. Well, that was one of the very first really deep gouges I had in the bottom of the canoe. There's one this side, and there's another one here, which you can just make out across there. So where the mat had been scratched deep, even though I repaired it, it still continued to weaken the timbers. And the other thing with these deep scratches is all of the damage this canoe is pretty much ever sustained has more or less come from two places. You won't be surprised. One is the section just below Waveney Mill, because I've just completed that, and the other place is at Shotford Bridge. Pretty much all the damage on this canoe has come from those two places, and that's the reason why there was an 8-year gap between the first time I did it and the trip. Literally 2 weeks ago today, I was just finishing that 3-day Waveney trip, and I would probably be home about this sort of time. And yeah, so the reason there was 8 years gap between those two complete paddles was because of the damage this canoe would sustain. So I was prepared to give it a go this time, thinking that in the back of my mind I've always wanted to remove that matting and resin and redo it, because I was never 100% happy with the finish I achieved, for a variety of reasons which I did mention previously. So that was the perfect excuse to give this a really good going over. So this is what I'm doing. You can see the shape of it now, and actually now I've taken off the colour, you know, the coloured epoxy that I put on. We can now see things. You can now clearly see the various bits of cedar, but more importantly you can see the ash strip there and the American black walnut. So when I do it this time, I'm just putting on clear varnish, clear epoxy for the first two coats anyway, and then if I'm happy with it, then I'll just put the third one on the same. If I'm not happy with it and I want to darken it slightly, I've kept a load of wood flour from the sanding down, so I will then just colour the last coat only. So my plan is, the forecast is reasonable for next weekend at the moment, so I'm gonna get all the stuff here. I've got some west epoxy and hardener left from when I did it, but that's 11 years old, so I'm not gonna reuse that. So I'm gonna order some new stuff, order some new fibreglass mesh, and I either Saturday or Sunday next weekend I'm planning to completely redo it, and then I'll leave it a week to harden off. Another mistake I made last time is after I'd done it, I moved it too quickly, and that put a couple of stress marks in the epoxy. So this time I'm just going to leave it alone for a whole week to harden off before I do anything else to it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we will end up with a fantastic finish. That's my hope. And that being the case, this canoe will no longer be doing any of those shallow sections anywhere. Oh, the other place was Bungay Rapids, where it sustained damage 8 years ago. I was a little clumsy at Ellingham Mill, and I had a couple of scratches from there as well. Sort of deep one, you know, you get scratches all the time, but I'm just talking about the really deep stuff. Yeah, there was a rocket handling on mill which I dragged it across. So yeah, anyway, so when this is done, this is only ever going to be used on deep water where there's no chance of damaging it, because I'm going to keep this now for what it's designed for. Really, it's just best. So it'll probably go to the Broads and a few other sections of the river which I know are going to be easy enough, and then I'll get another canoe for doing that. I really enjoyed the Waveney trip, really enjoyed it, and yeah, the challenge of going in all the nasty places was, yeah, it made the trip for me. It was, you know, I love it when it's sort of, you know, things are a bit difficult like that. It's a lot more interesting than just paddling away on some boring bit of river. So yeah, but I need a different canoe, so I'm gonna have to get myself some kind of plastic fiberglassy type thing that I can hurl down the shallow bits with gay abandon and not worry about it. So yeah, so we'll see what I end up with. You never know, I might be tempted to build a fiberglass one, who knows, but I need something anyway. So right, I'm going to crack on with the bottom of this, and I'll probably catch you guys later. There we are. I think we're done. Yeah, the whole thing is now rubbed down. Right down to this edge here. So yeah, that's it. All I have to do now is there's one or two little places I'll just mix up a little bit of epoxy filler and just touch those up during the week and give them a rub down. Give this one more good with a nice square edge, and I'm going to put some glue in those two cracks I pointed out earlier, so I can do all that during the week. Yeah, I think we're there. Really nice, that feels pretty good actually. So that'll need, just before I start with the epoxy, that'll need one more sand in line with the grind, tack rag, and then it's yeah, it's good to go. So look at that, you can really see the stripes now, which is nice. So you can see them before, but not very clearly. So yeah, well chuffed. That's it, right. Oh, I think I might have a video to edit, so in fact I might just do this one, just put a little update on and let you know how the canoe's getting on, because I'm sure you're really worried about it. So yeah, I will put that up very, very shortly.